So today I'm just mostly going to give you guys Impact Wrestling's latest pay-per-view Genesis that took place this past Saturday, but also some news updates coming in from Ring of Honor. So let's talk about that on this episode of Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted WrestleZone, all things that is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J-Rod here. Before I begin reviewing Impact Wrestling Genesis, I want to let you guys know what's been going on with me, because I know there's been certain things in the last few episodes where I actually was supposed to say certain things, but it doesn't go. As you know, certain things don't go according to plan by me. Thing is, I plan things out. Like recently when I did the Wrestle Kingdom and mix it with the shows from Tuesday Wrestling, like AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling, because I was falling far behind in certain things that were conflicting with my personal life and all that. So I'm catching up to what I'm doing. You see, I follow many various promotions when I watch, like none other than AEW and NXT Impact or anything else. I follow the wrestlings from this website where I can watch many of the promotions like Pro Wrestling Noah, Stardom, Dragon Gate, or any promotion, or GCW, or any promotion that this link posted, because there's so much wrestling. You probably say this about me, like saying, "Damn it, J-Rod, you must be a workhorse or something." I'm like, the thing is this. Let me explain for you guys. We're currently in unprecedented times. We're dealing with the pandemic. We just recently been dealing with what happened at the Capitol building, seeing how this country's going to hell in certain aspects. But I'm not here to talk about that. Sometimes it's like I have to keep myself busy no matter what. And I watch wrestling all the way whenever I see it. And probably say, do you ever do anything else, like, other than watching wrestling? Like, oh yes, I do. I also have my PlayStation 5 that I got for my birthday back on Christmas Eve, and I even have Nintendo Switch, and I keep up watching from what I watch on DVR, like NCIS and all that TV shows. But sometimes I'm like, oh shit, because the thing is, here in Deleted WrestleZone, you have seen various YouTube channels where people mostly talk about WWE, AEW, like those are good products, but what about the ones that you don't know about that you might find interested? Like New Japan Pro Wrestling or Pro Wrestling Noah or GCW, NWA, all of that. You know, because the thing is, there are some good promotions that you will enjoy, whether if you like it or not. That's how I feel. You know, I'm not telling you guys to like these shows. I'm saying you should keep your options open to see, wow, this is cool, if you're interested or not. I like wherever wrestling shows are coming. It doesn't matter if it's here in the US, Japan, Mexico, possibly your friends in the North, Canada, or the UK, or anywhere else. I'm here to give you guys some content coming in from various wrestling shows, and also trying to keep up with my podcast, DWZ Podcast with J-Rod. You guys can see that. It's on various platforms. Apple, Google Podcasts, Speaker, Spotify, Radio Public, Overcast, a few others. I always have those. So if you guys are interested in hearing my voice in that, you can go to DWZ Podcast with J-Rod, and you can find me on any of the channels out there. So if you guys can find me in Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, Overcast. Hold on, let me pull it up because I have it right here, because I even am on Anchor as well, but that's like the main where I broadcast many of my stuff. Let's see. Nope. Okay, here's the distributions if you guys are interested in hearing content. You may not see this on this channel, but you can see it. So we got Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public. So these are the channels you can catch me on. I do different type of wrestling content on that one. Sometimes it takes me maybe a week or two to put a new content that I want to talk about. So if you're interested in that, I'll do that too. But right now, I haven't been keeping up on that for a while. Since I've been busy with this one right now, with this channel for majority of the time. But I think that's it. I think I better shut up now and move on to review Impact Wrestling's Genesis. Okay, so now we're talking about Impact Wrestling's Genesis. Now, majority of this pay-per-view that you guys may have heard only did the Super X Cup tournament. Now, if you guys don't know what that is, this is a tournament that determines the best of the best in the X division. Now, you probably ask yourself, what the hell is the X division in Impact? Easy. If you guys are fans of the junior heavyweight division or cruiserweight division or division, lightweight division, those are like X division wrestlers. This is a unique type of division that was created by TNA before they becoming Impact. And if you're interested, that's what it is. So they had an annual tournament, which they haven't had it for a couple years, I think 2 years, but they had many wrestlers that participated, like about 8 of them. So let me reveal who they were. We had Ace Austin, Suicide, Blake Christians, KZ Navarro, Davari, Cousin Jake, Trey Lamar, and Crazy Steve. Now, these 4 guys were in fact in this division. So let's go with the first match of the first 4 matches of the first round. First match, we had Ace Austin being accompanied by Madman Fulton versus Suicide. Now, in this match during the start, Madison Rayne, who is one of the commentators in Impact Wrestling, who used to wrestle, did stated that her pick to win the entire tournament was Ace Austin. Now, keep in mind, you say, why was she picked? Now, I will explain more. Ace Austin has been X Division champion before, and he's at the top of this world that he's determined to be. He's inevitable that he sooner or later he will become a world champion. But the match was good. I'm a fan of Suicide, but it was a good match. But did you expect Madman Fulton to help out? He was at his corner, but he didn't seem like he was interfering, but he was mostly trying to get into the head of his opponents, trying to intimidate them. But it did allow Ace Austin to win this first round match. Second first round match is Blake Christian and KZ Navarro. Now, I am familiarized with Blake Christian with GCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and of course, Warrior Wrestling. He has the best matches I've ever seen watching when I see these promotions. KZ Navarro, I never heard of him, but I saw he's good. He's a very fantastic wrestler. But however, for me, I feel the edge was going to Blake Christian because he's a phenomenal wrestler. I'm a fan of him and I love what he was doing. Great wrestler, so he won his round on this one. The next third match of the first round, we have someone we all know, Davari versus Cousin Jake. Now, Davari, if you guys know who he is, he was the guy who used to be in WCW, but ever since he left, he joined TNA. He became an X Division champion. Basically, he was the perfect fit. Cousin Jake, I don't know if I ever considered him as an X Division type. He looks huge. He looks like he's different. But however, he was very impressive, But I was like, for me, I felt the match should have been with Davari. But the real question is he officially with Impact? Because I know he has history. He has made appearances at Impact before, like not too long ago with Bound for Glory. But the match went towards cousin Jake, so he goes to the semi-finals on this one. And then the final match of the first round, we have Trey Lamar, who I'm also familiarized with. He has been with this GCW and Warrior Wrestling. He also faced Blake Christian in the past, facing off against Crazy Steve. And like I said, I've always known the wrestlers who seems like they're the ones who are going to win this one. I felt it was that way. Crazy Steve was one of those guys because he's also been X Division champion before, all of that. So the match went to him because I kind of figured because it had to be that in that kind of sense. Now there was an interview with Moose prior before that. He's not upset that he lost the match. He's upset how stupid Willie Mack was, to get in his business and all this other stuff. But he did consider this as a message to the Impact World Champion. Now, as you know, the story has been progressing with Moose, with Rich Swann majority of the time. Now, you ask yourselves, why is he after Rich if he's facing Willie Mack? There's a reason to that. Things have changed with Moose in Bound for Glory since he took out EC3. EC3 told him to control your narrative. So he finally embraced what EC3 was talking about. But however, over the time, he feels no one is caring about the TNA World title. He claims that he won the title. He claims that he beat the best wrestlers to win the title from. But the problem is that title was not even active. That title, he took it from storage because he was pissed that the fact that Impact Wrestling were talking about and the fans were talking about the reunion with TNA. But this leads now, fast forwarding to when Rich Swann won the Impact World title from Eric Young. He considers the TNA World title as a second best title. And he believes that the TNA World title is in fact the most prestigious in Impact. But no one cares about it. No one's talking about it. So he feels that this is a load of crap. I am the best. He thinks he's a wrestling god, but there's those who say no. Karl Gotch is God. And that's practical. So this entire time, it's all about mind games. But I'll get to that when we get to the match. So that's what he wanted. Now, let's jump into the semi-finals of the Super X Cup. The first match was Ace Austin versus Cousin Jake. Now, however, like I said before, but like Madison Rain said, her pick for the entire tournament was, in fact, Ace Austin. He is a phenomenal wrestler. He has a bag of tricks, as always. He gets a little too cocky for his own good. Cousin Jake, who's breaking ground on his own since Cody Deaner betrayed him and joined the Psychos, Eric Young and Joe Dorian. But I have to say he did good. I know he'll succeed on his own without Cody, but let's see what happens. But it didn't go exactly his way. But somehow Ace Austin was able to pull this one off. So he won match in the semifinals. Now, the next match was another semifinal match between Blake Christian and Crazy Steve. Now, Blake Christian has no clue who the hell Crazy Steve is. He talks to a toy monkey, for Christ's sakes. So he doesn't know what to make of it. But there was a moment he accidentally kicked the monkey. It's like saying, and you can, if the fans were there, they will say this: "You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up." That would have been the icing on the cake on that. And Crazy Steve went nuts. So don't ever mess with a man's monkey. But however, the match was amazing. I did like it. And I was thinking, okay, Crazy Steve was going to win it. But however, as a fan of Blake Christian, I didn't expect him to win, but he did. So he advances to the finals. Now the next match this was set up a few days before Genesis. We had Jordan Grace versus wrestling legend Jazz. This was one of those matches where it kind of felt okay. You see Jazz, we all know her reputation. She was WWE Women's Champion. She was NWA Women's Champion. Her reputation precedes her. And she is the toughest lady ever. And she runs a dojo in Texas. I mean, a wrestling dojo. The Dog Pound or something like that. But seeing her, like, she can hang with wrestlers like Jordan Grace, it shows her, even though she's set to retire, but I feel like she may still have a little gas in the tank, but this was a good match. But you ask yourself, would Jazz win it or Jordan Grace? Well, the answer to that is it was in fact Jordan Grace. But however, she always will embrace wrestlers like Jazz, who paved the way to be normal. You see, if you guys know this about Jazz, she was amongst the few women who refuses to change her image, like have fake breast or fake everything about her body, but that's not who she is. And I think maybe Jordan Grace embraces that in her. I mean, if you look at Jordan Grace, like, she may be strong and capable, but she will never change her look. And that's, I think, what I feel. Like, they embrace the past and the present. Now let's get to the final match of the X Cup. We have Ace Austin versus Blake Christian. But in this particular match, Ace Austin asked Madman Fulton, look, big guy, let me handle this. I'll go on my own. So he sent Madman Fulton to the back. So Madman Fulton's like, okay, if that's what you want, I got your back. So he goes to the back. Basically, this was a really, really good match. I loved everything. You didn't know what to expect out of these two wrestlers. Now, you can say Ace Austin, he will win this match all you want. Blake Christian, he could upset a phenomenal wrestler who I've been following for months. You can say he can pull an upset. It's true. I mean, he has made a name for himself in independence for this long. And I feel like Impact or AEW or somebody, even if it's WWE, they need to pick this guy up. He's good. But however, the match ended in favor of Ace Austin becoming the Super X Cup winner. Now, he could get a future title of the X Division whenever he can. I think the current champion is Manic, who is set to face Rohit Raju and Chris Bay at Hard to Kill. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting. Now let's get to the main event, which is the I Quit match between Willie Mack and Moose. This match was so hardcore. Moose wouldn't say I quit. Willie Mack wouldn't say I quit. He even told Willie Mack, you have to kill me. I'm like, whoa. That's insane. But the more they were hurting each other, they wouldn't say. They were telling, get that microphone out of my face. They're like going back and forth in this. I'm like, wow. But there was a moment. Moose was about to smash his head with the chairs on top of other chairs. But however, here comes Rich Swann telling him to stop, that he'll give him what he wants. He'll give him a shot of the Impact World title. And this is Moose's response. Thank you. I quit. You'll be like, what the fuck? What just happened? Like I said, this is a good storyline in a way. It's a good psychology story. Moose, for a long time, he keeps saying to himself, he's the best wrestler. He is the real world champion. Now, that's how it ended, so we don't know when that match. But I'm going to put a little separate segment to explain a little bit on this one. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to go to the restroom real quick. Okay, I talked about this with Moose, about how he's playing this interesting attitude. He's been trying to tell everybody he's the real world champion. No one believed him, no one took him seriously. But everything changed ever since he beat EC3 in that undisclosed location. So what happened in Genesis, it kind of tells a different story. He's been trying to get Willie Mack's attention. Moose has been saying the entire time, like saying, I'm the real world champion. So he's trying to prove he's the real champion. And Willie Mack gave him what he wanted, a title shot. But however, there is another thing that comes to mind. If he's saying he's the best wrestler in the world, that he's God, there is one person that's not going to take that too lightly. If you guys don't know who I'm referring to, I'm talking about Kenny Omega. Reason I say this, Don Callis, who always had Kenny's back, will tell Moose in his mind, like saying, who the hell you think you are, Moose? You're not a real world champion. You see this right here? This is a real world champion. Moose will go back and forth trying to say, that's a lie, it's not true, you're not, I'm God and all this, but Don Callis will back him up. But however, how would this play out? Well, he'll send the Good Brothers or anybody in the so-called version of Bullet Club will beat him up to send a message to him. I mean, anything could happen. Now, why would I envision that? Because you got to look at it in certain point of views of story-wise in wrestling. It tells the story where Moose is trying to take control of his narrative. That's what EC3 has been doing the entire time. He was controlling his narrative. But he was trying to tell Moose, do the same thing. Control your narrative. Now, Moose couldn't control his own narrative. Why? The way I saw it in the story wise is this. No one was taking him seriously. People think this whole thing with the TNA World title is a joke. It's not even a real title, for Christ's sakes. It's not even active. If you recall, months ago, he said, there were people saying, I got informed by the TNA Wrestling Championship Committee, and he's like, there is a no TNA. Exactly. So they're saying, this title doesn't even exist. But Moose doesn't believe that. He thinks he is a world champion, that he beat the TNA legends or wrestlers from that era to win this title. But he didn't win it. He stole it from the storage. But when you tell the world saying you're the best or you're God, I feel Kenny's got to have something to say about that. He's going to say, you're not God, you're not wrestling. You know what? I'll just take that TNA World title and put it in my collection. And Moose will do whatever it takes to protect that title. That's how I would see it. Now, I don't know if you guys would see that too. For almost a couple weeks, I've been seeing this. Ever since Kenny won the AEW World title, made his appearance at Impact Wrestling, I'm like thinking, what is he trying to do? And then someone made this interesting, fantastic artwork. Did exactly what Thanos did. Do you remember? Okay, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I'll refer to. If you guys saw Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, Avengers, Age of Ultron, there was a moment where you see Thanos who got the gauntlet and he says, fine, I'll do it myself. There's a picture of Kenny saying that same phrase. In each section of the glove where those the stones were at, each of them had a section. One had the title of the AEW title, the AAA Mega Championship, IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Impact Championship, and of course, the NWA. What does that tell you? Is he planning to collect all these titles? He would take the Impact title off of Moose if he wanted. That's what I would see in this type of story. And I don't know how you guys would feel, but if you guys want to comment on this part, go ahead and give me your opinions. Do you see it or not? So right now, let's jump into some news updates regarding Ring of Honor. All right, so you guys know this on previous episodes where I talk about news updates. Recently, I talked about wrestlers from Ring of Honor that re-signed. Well, news just broke out that more wrestlers have re-signed and others are now free agents. Now, here are the wrestlers who have been revealed they re-signed with Ring of Honor. We had Sumui Sakai, Tracy Williams, Brian Johnson, and Mark Haskins. On this, but the ones who are now free agents is Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle has been with Ring of Honor from 2013. He was Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions with the boys, also world champion. So practically, that's what he's been doing the entire time. So it's still unclear who else is re-signed or if there's any wrestlers leaving. We don't know. I will put a pin on this one no matter what because, as you know, things haven't been easy with Ring of Honor. I did had an episode where I talk about their recent show, where they released new footage where what happened when everybody had to be quarantined and all this and that. So that is still up to discussion. Don't know when they will have fans back, all of that, but we'll see when it happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, me doing reviewing Genesis and also explaining the storyline with Moose, maybe confronting Kenny at some point, but we'll see how that goes. Also, stand by for another episode, maybe later on tonight or so. I got two Japanese wrestling events from DDT and Dragon Gate. I am expecting more. Tomorrow, we'll still do Wrestling Tuesday as always. So, I must bid all of you guys adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. Have a nice day. Bang.